Hey, good day and God bless everyone. All glory to the Most High God. So, in our walk with Christ, we're going to face persecution. That's a given. As Matthew 10, verse 22 states, "And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved." Moreover, making sense out of our circumstances and perhaps even prior to coming to Christ, we're informed of in John 15, verse 19 that if ye were of the world would love his own. But because ye are not of the world, but I have chosen you out of the world, therefore the world hateth you. Now, as we are to expect this, we are also to expect positive events, such as, for instance, observing God's hand over our lives when enduring witchcraft attacks, as well as other forms of spiritual warfare. While we may very well be aware that God helped us, I'm going to make the suggestion that we not leave it up to chance that we remember every instance of God's help, but rather keep record of these events when they come to pass. As humans, we have this interesting susceptibility to remembering negative events more than that of the positive. You may have even noticed this about yourself. Think back to, say, a relationship you were in sometime in the past, or even currently in. Your partner may have done many good things for you, but the second they did something wrong or that you didn't like, the elicited negative emotional response likely took hold over your mind, and this hyper focusing on that one negative event, regardless of how small, may have played a significant role in the trajectory of that relationship, even whether it continues or not. I've heard various explanations as to why this happens, such as this way of processing serving to find solutions to past problems. But at this point, I would imagine that there is a spiritual component to such circumstances, with the enemy likely trying to cause torment through imposing repeated negative, intrusive thoughts. Regardless of the underlying reason, because we know that we are prone towards focusing on the negative, even being consumed by it, and perhaps hindering our faith, as was the case when Peter started walking on the water toward Jesus. I think it would behoove us to take preemptive measures in order to avoid such circumstances. You may remember in Matthew 16 when the disciples forgot to take bread, and Jesus told them to beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and the Sadducees. This left them to wonder what Jesus' words meant, and they came to the false conclusion that he was referring to literal leaven instead of the Pharisees' doctrine. To this, Jesus stated, "O ye of little faith, why reason ye among yourselves because ye have brought no bread? Do ye not understand, neither remember the 5 loaves of the 5,000, and how many baskets ye took up? Neither the 7 loaves of the 4,000, and how many baskets ye took up? How is it that ye do not understand that I spake it not to you concerning bread, that ye should beware of the leaven of the Pharisees and of the Sadducees?" Just like the disciples, we too can find ourselves trying to figure out a situation and coming to false conclusions, particularly because we harbor the very human tendency to forget the past, and especially when it comes to positive events like when Jesus multiplied the bread for the collective of 5,000 people. One rather simple way to overcome this, to an extent, this YouTube channel serving this purpose for not only myself but those listening, is to create some form of list specifically on the ways God has helped you throughout your life. This can be a great way to reflect, even on events prior to coming to Christ, further allowing us to realize that God has always been there. And there are many ways this can help you. To use the example of the disciples again, what if they had a scroll detailing every time Jesus performed a miracle? They could have simply looked back at their notes, and when Jesus made the comment regarding the leaven, they may not have come to the conclusion that he was referring to literal bread, as they would have noticed that, say, number 10 was when he multiplied the bread. Such a list will be useful for when persecution comes your way, and you can even include certain verses that provide comfort for those times as a reminder of how God keeps us, such as Romans 8, verse 28, which states, "And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose." Or Isaiah 15, verse 47, and being a useful reminder that no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This serves to lessen the chances that you succumb to any negative mental consequences of spiritual warfare, such as anxiety, paralysis of actions, and even the feeling of being abandoned by God, which the enemy surely wants for you. God will never abandon us. In reviewing how He has helped us, even prior to coming to Christ, displaying that He is long suffering, goes a long way in reminding us that He is present, even when we may not see or feel it. When I think about this, the thought of why would God abandon me now after coming to Christ when He waited on me all these years comes to mind, making the idea of His abandoning me come off as a bit silly, as He loves us and does not desire that any of His children perish. In the thick of spiritual warfare, however, you may even feel the need to make a quick decision to get out of your circumstances instead of waiting on the Lord, and can be all the more inclined to do so when only focusing on the attacks of the enemy in front of you, instead of staying grounded and knowing that God has helped you before and He will do it again in due time. I find it worth mentioning here 1 Peter 5, verses 8 to 10, as it sums up this process we are to expect in our walk in stating, "Be sober, be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, as a roaring lion, walketh about, seeking whom he may devour, whom resist steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same afflictions are accomplished in your brethren that are in the world. But the God of all grace, who have called us unto His eternal glory by Jesus Christ, after that ye have suffered a while, make you perfect, establish, strengthen, settle you." Again, just a suggestion, but I think making a list can be of great help throughout your walk with Christ, and especially when persecution comes your way.